Welcome to another episode of the Mostly Legal podcast. If you're new here, this is a show where we tell the stories of people who make law firms operate. I'm Amanda Copeless, Chief Operating Officer at Sheffield, Lohman & Wilson.
And I'm Rob Joyner, Senior Vice President of Business Development at Centerbase.
Today's guest is the definition of momentum. He's Tirek Gayle, Director of Finance and Administration at Davidson, Dawson & Clark in New York City. And he is the president-elect of the Association of Legal Administrators New York City chapter.
Tirek coaches on and off the court, literally. He coached collegiate basketball. He's a certified executive coach. And yes, he did what I always wished to do and shattered a backboard.
Oh, keep dreaming, Rob. In this episode, Tirek shares how coaching shapes his leadership style, how a boutique firm competes in New York City, and why white glove service and a true people-first culture can beat big firm overhead.
We also dig into hot button topics like in-office versus hybrid, recruiting, mental health, and legal, and how the New York City chapter of the Association of Legal Administrators is leveling up under Tirek's Let's Go mantra.
It's fast, it's fun, it's packed with takeaways for firms of any size. Let's dive in, or let's go. We are joined today by Tirek Gayle, who is the Director of Finance and Administration for the New York-based law firm of Davidson, Dawson & Clark. Did I get it?
Yes, you did.
All right. And you are also the president-elect of the New York City chapter of the Association of Legal Administrators, which is one of our largest chapters. So it's pretty prestigious. I think you're on a rocket ship to the top in ALA as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, there's an endorsement.
There's my endorsement. Should not stand as an official endorsement of your qualifications. Get that legalese out there right away. Let me start with something fun. When we did our pre-call, you showed us something that you had on your desk. A piece of basketball backboard. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
I think I should be asking about this.
Well, okay, just because I don't know anything about basketball, but I remember the piece of plastic glass. What was it made of? I don't know.
You know, Amanda's the athlete here, so it all works.
I've been accused of being a lot of things, and athlete is not one of them.
So this is it here.
So for those that are just listening and not watching, Tirek, you're holding up
I'm holding up a piece of a backboard that I broke in college. It was during an intramural scrimmage. You know, I went to the basket and went up and basically pulled down not only the rim, but the entire backboard. I stood there and had the rim in my hand while the glass was showering down. Not many people could say they broke a backboard.
It's a dream.
Oh, indeed. So I took a piece and I've had it with me ever since.
And it just sits on your desk to remind you that you can break barriers. I don't know. Is there some symbolic?
Right. That's exactly
Amanda,
right.
The only thing I broke was my back a few times.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I broke a backboard.
And they break your ankles when they go around you, right?
There you go, Amanda. Maybe you are
that's my whole
the basketball person on here.
That's my whole sportsing sports. Well, then I'm going to ask another coaching question since you kind of stole that question from me then, Rob. So you coach men's basketball, but you're also a certified executive coach.
Yes.
How do you juggle those different types of roles, and how does that help you be a better law firm leader?
Coaching is a passion, and it has been for such a long time. I mean, you know, I think about the wonderful people in my life who've coached me, you know, through youth sports and, you know, just kind of the whole thought process of paying it forward. And so for me, that's always been my mantra of paying it forward, pay it forward, pay it forward. And, you know, so when I coached athletics, you know, I started coaching young kids ages, 8, 9, 10, and throughout the AAU circuit. I then graduated into, kind of older kids and really wanting to give them opportunities for college. We would take them on college tours. So, because basketball is near and dear to me, it's something that I've always done. And, really moving kids beyond their 4 square blocks. So that was really part of it. I then got into, coaching college basketball. I coached at Dutchess Community College in Poughkeepsie. I coached recently at CCNY, just really trying to help young men, especially because it's the men's team, but definitely working with the women's team as well. Really working to try to continue to help athletes understand and figure out, that, sports is a great avenue. I've had guys go professional, be it overseas, or I've had a guy that I work with. He got drafted by the Knicks a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Cool.
So, that's happened. But at the same token, you recognize that everybody's not going to go pro in athletics. And so, with that, I've really worked to transition that coaching, because it's really that white glove touch that you really want to give to, all of the people at your firm, and being able to communicate with them in ways to understand their strong suits, what's going to make them the best version of themselves. I learned a lot of that through athletics, and I really carried that forward into my law firm life of really trying to make sure that I'm getting the best out of people in whatever capacity, that where they are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Obviously you're working with attorneys. You're at a 47 employee firm, so you're wearing a lot of different hats. I'm sure there's times where you're actually coaching the attorneys as well. Attorneys have I'm trying to figure out how to say it, a very specific personality. How have you found it best to coach these attorney personalities? Like, how do you work with them?
Rob, you got to be careful there. My wife's an attorney, so don't get me in trouble.
Listen,
okay?
I once heard a stat that attorneys, their demeanor, their 2 standard deviations from norm is their personality in one way or the other. So if you're thinking statistically, you can say that is a researched fact.
Thank you,
They
Amanda.
are standard two standard deviations from norm in their personality. Okay.
Amanda, you're not going to get me in trouble either, so nice try.
But it's your wife's second career, Tirek, right?
That is,
so maybe there's a little more margin there. So go ahead. How do you coach them?
How do you coach them?
Listen, I think when it comes to attorneys, honesty, transparency, really coming up with solutions and being ready for them because of their training. They like to poke holes in things. So,
yes.
So you've got to be ready, with the potential pivot depending upon what their thought process might be. As you know, a lot of attorneys are linear thinkers. That's just by their training. And so because of that, you've got to really ingratiate yourself into that mindset and be able to say, okay, if I'm thinking like an attorney, what does this look like? And what are the questions that I would ask? And then you've got to be ready with those answers. And so I've been successful to be able to do that throughout my career.
That's great. And so you also, because you're at a smaller firm, you like to say that you wear every hat.
I do.
Right. And so what are some, this is kind of weird, but what are some weird or strange hats that you've put on that you've never thought you were going to have to do before?
Something that people probably don't know about me. I used to bounce. I was a bouncer. I was a bouncer in college.
Okay.
And I've had to.
You're like the most interesting guy. Like all these. Do you sleep?
All these stories keep coming out.
I know. Where do you find time? Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
I've had to bounce people out of a firm that I was at. Like literally, I'm going to lift you up and I'm taking you out of here. We didn't want to wait for security. And so,
is that covered by workers' comp? I mean, just if you throw out your back as a 40-year-old administrator bouncing somebody,
thank goodness I was younger. I don't know if I do that now. But that would probably be like the strangest, just because the client was getting out of sorts. It got into it's like, hey, listen, I think we're going to cut this meeting right now. And, the client, no, we're not cutting anything right now. And in fact, I'm going to continue. Actually, no, sir, we're not going to do that. It's time for you to go. And basically, instead of calling security came quickly. I was security. Time for you to go.
Did they walk out on their own?
You mean they got carried out on their own? Sure.
Jeez. Were they literally kicking and screaming?
What
did this look? Oh my God.
Oh yeah, no, believe me,
this is incredible.
I'm gonna get you up and out. It's a basic move that a lot of bouncers know. It's up under the shoulder. It's a straight lift up off your feet, and I'm carrying you. Somebody press the lobby button, please. Bye.
Something I never thought I'd learn on the Most Legal podcast. Next time I come to New York, I want to see what this looks like.
I bet he could bounce you out. You're tall, but you're wiry.
I'm wiry.
Rob, act up. I'll show you.
According to my doctor today, though, I need to lose a few pounds. So not that wiry, Amanda. Okay, so let's keep on this thread, Tirek. You're in New York.
Yeah.
You're at a smaller firm, right? New York there's tons of firms there, right? How, as a firm, do you compete for talent with all the other big guys in town?
Listen, I think that's the tough thing that we're all dealing with, regardless of size, and especially kind of in that post-pandemic, be at home, work from home, come into the office. There's this, I think there's this kind of fight for what does the world look like post-pandemic. And I think having a multi-generational office is always a tough dynamic because, you have folks who say, I can do all this from home and it's actually better. And then you have kind of the older generation of folks that are like, everybody needs to be in the office because I was in the office.
Oh, yes.
And so like that dynamic is happening. And as a smaller firm, look, I think the sale of quality of life is just a better fit for a lot of people, as far as the family oriented kind of dynamic of like, if you've got a family, you've got kids, really understanding that, we're not requiring people to work 23, 24, 2,500 hours billables. I think those dynamics are going to be different, which, a lot of people are gravitating towards just because they're like, that's just not the lifestyle that I want anymore. And, there's some folks who want that lifestyle, and that's completely fine if that works for you.
Right.
But, I think as a smaller firm, we offer that alternative.
You're keeping people in the office, though, 5 days a week, right? You're kind of against some of the hybrid norm. And so how are you selling that to potential hires that want the flexibility, or employees who don't want to do that? Or, how are you navigating those conversations?
I think as a firm, we have a really, really generous PTO program, and also, we offer flexibility, look, I think we recognize that life happens,
right? And
it's not your employee number A3124976 on the conveyor belt kind of going through. Like you actually have a name. We know who you are. We know who your spouse is and your children and what's going on. Sometimes that might be a little too much, but at the same token, you know that stuff, and I think that makes a difference. So when it's like, hey, my kid is sick, or most recently we had somebody who lost a pet family member, and it was like, what? They were like, I need a moment. And you understand that. You're like, what? I know who you are as an employee. I know your work product. And what? If you need that moment to grieve your pet loss, then take your moment. And I think that is a big difference from, kind of the larger firms where folks are just like, yes, so what, Fido? That happened to Fido. Like, get your tail in here. Like, I think there's a difference there. And that right there, I think, allows people to say, I want to be here.
Until you've had to negotiate the bereavement leave for an African gray parrot, as I have once done, you just don't know. You just don't. They live a long time.
Is it different
apparently.
than like a standard parrot?
Of course.
Do you get an extra day?
Well, apparently they live a long time. And when I worked at this firm, she lost her parrot. He had been a part of her life for many, many, many years. And it was not like, we don't count it as bereavement leave. But, Rob, you and I have been talking about how fur babies should maybe qualify for bereavement leave. But this African gray parrot, I don't know.
Wait, you're saying I think pets should qualify?
You and I have had this conversation that maybe bereavement leave policies should be more flexible. Now, you have no soul, so you don't care if an animal dies.
I was about to say, maybe I was trying to be empathetic
with you. Some people with souls.
Yeah. I can't, I don't remember exactly when that was, but sounds good.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But as a smaller firm, not only are you competing for talent, you're also competing for clients.
Yes.
You're competing for office space.
Yeah.
You're competing for a lot of other things that cost a lot more money, especially in New York City. You know how I feel about New York City.
You love it.
It's not near and dear to my heart.
You love
I don't.
What's your favorite restaurant, Amanda?
What?
Amanda, last time you were here, we were at Madison and Vine, and you loved it. You were like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic! I love this place."
New York City's you guys are gaslighters. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You gaslight everybody about that city. Hey, it's only a couple of blocks when it's really 4.5 miles. Oh, it's not that expensive. Okay, that soda was $18.35, but sure.
You need to look up the distance in Manhattan. It's not even 4.5 miles the entire island. So stop it. See, you talk about gaslighting.
All of our New York listeners that are listening to this podcast supporting Tirek, please don't leave. We love New York. I love New York. Don't worry about Amanda.
Tirek has made it his personal mission to turn me into a New York City loving, and we're going to be there again, right, Rob? We're going to be there in October. So
already coming back because you just can't get enough.
We love it.
We're already coming back. Okay.
I get up there as often as I can.
We digress. I was going to say, in New York City, you're competing not only for talent, but for space. And so what does a firm your size, what can you offer clients that maybe a big firm can't?
First of all, it's going to be a price reduction. Look, everybody's being mindful of price today. And as a smaller firm, we don't have the overhead that a lot of these larger firms do. My partners aren't billing out. Look, it's nice, but my partners aren't billing out at $1,500 to $2,000 an hour. Right. And I think that's going to make a huge difference, with just right there alone. There's also going to be, the concept that we know who the client is. And when you hire my partner and an associate or of counsel, they actually work on the matters. And it's not like it's just farmed in and then it's divvied out to somebody else. And so, you're getting the exact level of service that you actually had requested, and it's not somebody else. So I think those are the pluses there. I like this term. I use white glove service all the time because to me it's important. And I think white glove service is exactly what you get with a firm of our size. It's that boutique feel that, you come in and we're going to tailor a suit to exactly your specifications. Right. And I think our ability to do that basically allows us to stand out from, the bigger players, because at the end of the day, it's really about what the client wants. And we're able to provide that service and provide it at a discount, but yet you receive the premium as if it's, a $2,000 an hour partner.
It's a great differentiator for sure.
Along those lines, are you doing anything around alternative fee structures or technology to help keep that price down right now?
We haven't had to when it comes to that. I mean, we have some proprietary software that we use in-house to really try to help be efficient when it comes to, we're a T&E firm. So, for generating our wills and our trust and things along that line, we have proprietary software that we use that really goes a long way. It allows us to, be smart about, the resources that we're using, considering that they're relatively finite because of just our size. So we do that. But, as far as fee structure, like we have a straightforward, either cost per hour, depending upon what's going on, we may do a straight flat fee depending upon what's needed. So, it all depends upon, on a case by case basis.
Awesome. All right. Back to New York City a minute. Your favorite topic.
Don't start no mess, Amanda. Don't you start.
I wanted to actually ask about New York City ALA. Okay. So you have, how many members do you have?
In total, we are at 230, maybe 220. We're somewhere between 220 something and 235. That's
wow.
So yeah, I mean that's a huge for ALA standards. That's one of our top 5 largest chapters. Yeah. And so you not only do you have a lot more resources, but you have a lot more people hopefully willing to lend a hand when you need help. But tell me a little bit about, like, you're coming up as going to be president of that chapter. What is your kind of leadership philosophy going to be? Do you have a theme for your year? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm super excited about the opportunity to step into the role as president. We've had a line of amazing people lead our chapter. And so to stand on the shoulders of those folks and continue to help push our chapter forward, it's a wonderful thing. And, I would also be remiss if I didn't say I'm excited, especially because I'm actually the first Black male to be president of our chapter.
Wow. Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I can't wait to where we stop saying the first Black person, first black.
Right.
Like, I can't wait for that. So
Right.
I'm happy to break that, and I'm hopeful that, more folks will be coming behind me on that. But as I said, we've had phenomenal presidents, and I'm excited about that. My mantra is let's go. And that's with like everything. Like, let's go. Let's go to work. Let's get after it.
Mine was here we go. So we're like in tune.
That's exactly. But of course we are. I mean,
Of course.
We
We only disagree on one little small thing.
No, we don't disagree on that. You just haven't come to terms with it yet. But don't you worry. You will.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Centerbase, legal practice and management software designed to deliver optimal efficiency, profitability, and business growth for your mid-sized law firm. Learn more about how Centerbase helps you practice, manage, and grow your law firm with modern technology at centerbase.com. Tirek, what are some of the exciting things that your membership has to look forward to as you step into the seat?
We do an annual symposium where, it's kind of almost like a mini national. It's done in one day. When I hosted it last year, along with some folks, and I had the benefit of having the wonderful national president.
You had a great speaker.
She
was
phenomenal.
I was great.
As you flip your hair back for those
You noticed that, right? You noticed that.
I'm trying not to throw my shoulder out, patting myself on the back.
Don't hurt your arm there. Don't hurt your arm. So, we're actually celebrating our 20th symposium this year.
Oh, awesome.
And I mean, that's a true major milestone. And I'm really thinking about next year, if I may pause it. And this is kind of breaking that news, but, for those who listen to that, I'm thinking about pausing it next year and really doing a regional. I'd love to do that with the Boston chapter and possibly the Nutmeg chapter. And, can we pull Philly in and maybe even.
We've got a Western and Central New York chapter. Don't forget about them.
100%. So we want to see what we can do there. And, so there's some talks in the works, and we'll see how that plays.
Oh.
But, 20 years of doing the symposium and trying to make that change, I would really need to sell it to my team. But I think it'd be nice to do something different. I also think it'd be nice to let 20 kind of sit on its own and really look back at the wonderful things that we've done. We've notoriously have been really big on charity and giving back. We recently had a great event helping out the Harlem School of the Arts. Next year, I want to make sure I continue in that line of figuring out, a charity to work with. I would really like to do a large kind of what I'm thinking about calling the President's Ball.
That might get me.
Listen, come on, and I'm hopeful that people will bring their spouses or significant others and really making it a thing, whether you do or don't, that's up to you. But,
Tirek, all you do is give her a mic. She'll be there.
Okay, well, you're not wrong. But
so then you'll definitely get a mic. I'll see you there.
Even if it's a little toy one, you don't actually have to let her speak.
That's without a doubt. Amanda, wherever I am, you will always be able to speak. You will always can share the stage. I love it.
Oh my goodness. So, you know what? I really like that idea because so many chapters get really stuck in we have always done it this way. We have to continue doing it that way. Yeah. And some of it is because it's easy to copy and paste events when you're volunteering. It's very easy to say, here's the booklet for what we did last year, and I'm going to replicate that as closely as possible to next year. It's much harder to build something from scratch when you have an all-volunteer army. And so I applaud that. I can't wait to see what you all come up with. That's
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, we've got, look, we're blessed to have the folks that we have in New York. I think the level of attention and vigor and just overall spirit to do the things that we do. I mean, we have a 18 person board currently, and we have a ton of initiatives that really, and I'll throw this in there, award-winning initiatives.
Oh, you have had some award-winning.
There we go.
Just because I got to talk about New York because that's what we do.
That's right.
We have a ton of award-winning initiatives from our DEI work to most recently our sustainability work. We have a fit component and really thinking about mental health and just how does that all play, because mental health is a component that, people in law firms there's a lot of pressure there. And so, we really try to, have that arm there as an outlet and as a reminder to really take care of yourself. We have our charity arm and we're doing some great works there. So, when you look at all of the different teams that we have and the things that people are doing, we couldn't do those things without the work of the volunteers that really step in and step up. And, their mantra is let's go. And so that's why, for me, that's just going to be important for next year as we, continue to do those great works and add some different ones.
You're going to be an awesome leader. I get excited hearing you say, let's go. It's going to be great. No wonder man has given you the endorsement. You mentioned mental health being a big thing. As you're speaking to your membership, are there other themes that you're hearing, other questions that are coming up that firms are really interested in learning? Obviously, ALA is one of the reasons to join is the ability to bring together a community and learn. Yeah. What are they asking about?
I mean, look, it does range. So, we go from mental health to, really talking about, depending upon what state you live in. So like New York City, there's just a constant deluge of new rules and employee engagement and how do you have to behave. I know that's out in Cali as well. So there's just a ton of stuff and ton of rules to really make sure that you're managing your firm in the right ways. So there's, I guess you can call it that's that HR component as you're navigating issues with IT. I mean, as you know, there's constantly things that are coming out with IT and
Rob doesn't know anything about technology.
Rob knows absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Clearly, I couldn't get my mic to work before this episode.
Yeah. There you go.
So,
there you go.
On theme.
I say that jokingly. Obviously, everybody knows Rob is in tech.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's actually surprises me sometimes with how smart he can pretend to be.
Keep going. Keep going.
That's it.
No more.
That's it.
I'm just going to play that on repeat before I go to bed every night.
So, definitely IT is something that, people are thinking about. And I got to say, I think finance as well. There's a lot of folks who are not finance people, but they get thrusted into kind of the finance kind of world, especially trying to craft budgets and understand, forecasting and things like that. And you have to know that just saying, oh, well, just add 5% to the actual, that's not forecasting. That's not how you budget. That's not how you plan. So it's like having that, being able to like intersperse yourself in so many different ways, going back to what you said earlier about wearing the different hats. I think that's the struggle that people are having, because not everybody's managing a large firm. People are managing kind of that mid to small size firm.
Right. That's the bulk of our ALA membership is from that size firms. Yeah.
And you're really one of one sitting in that seat, and you've got to work to really be everything to everyone in every situation. And that can be tough.
How do you manage your day, right? Like that's the big question is what we talk about this hats again. What hat are you putting on when people walk into the room, right? Yeah. So, okay, we have a couple of like lightning round questions for you.
Okay.
All right. I'm looking at them. I'm going to throw a couple out.
All right.
Basketball.
Amanda, I had them highlighted.
There's no highlighting on here.
On my side. I was ready to go, but go ahead.
Do you have a question other than a lightning round question?
No. Go ahead.
Wow. Aren't we a great pair?
I love you
as
guys.
if we haven't been doing this for 4 seasons.
No.
Basketball or law or mostly legal podcast? Which one has more drama?
That mostly legal podcast, my God.
Okay, excluding that one, basketball or law?
I probably would. I'd probably have to say basketball. There's more drama there, especially, and I got to say, I love my parents of my athletes, but oh my God, when you have the parents who are like, why isn't my kid playing?
That's Rob. Oh, Rob is that dad. He has twins, and I guarantee you when his kids walk out on the field, they hate to see him coming. Tell me I'm wrong.
I just coach the team. I'm there to support everybody.
And you
have to control it.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh,
Rob, do you have a lightning round question?
Yeah, Tirek, most overrated legal TV show or movie.
Ooh.
Or the best. And why is it Ally McBeal?
That might be the most overrated. You like those apples? I actually, it's funny. I like Boston Legal. I don't know if you remember. Boston Legal was fantastic. Yeah. I think William Shatner, and now I'm blanking on his name, the main character, but I thought they were fantastic. I really just loved that show. What
is one law you would change tomorrow if you could?
I really hate this, the issue of every year, this kind of, I hate the harassment training. And it's like, if you don't get it done, you're in trouble. And it's just like, like
you get harassed for not being harassment trained.
Basically, you just want people to like, just be good people, use common sense.
Yeah.
Like that would be it right there. But maybe that's too much.
You would like to, so they don't need it, right? Like they just,
It's just like, just be good citizens, good people.
I always tell people, if you don't want to have to explain it to your grandma, to your TikTok, or to a judge, don't do it.
Don't do it.
That is.
Just don't do it. Don't do it.
That's pretty much it.
Tirek, I got another one for you. Best perk of working at a small firm that nobody talks about.
You know what? I got to say, it's really the camaraderie. It's really the people. Like people are like, oh. It really is. It's the people for me. And just like when you're surrounded by a great group of people, that just makes all the world of difference. And you pull for each other, you feel for each other. I'm saying that in the right way. Like all of these things you just do, and that connectivity, it's just amazing. And, you celebrate together, you cry together. Those are all the things that happen, with the right group.
Okay, what is one thing you could say to your basketball team that you can exactly say to your team at the office? Word for word advice that's the exact same.
This is a family show, Amanda.
You should hear some episodes.
Families have all turned us off by
there's been times where I've basically told my team to get their heads out of their you-know-whats and let's get on this floor and let's go to work.
Okay.
I don't think I can tell my team here at the office to get their heads out of their you-know-whats and let's go to work. So
got to pick another one. You got to pick one that you can say in both places.
Pick one I could say in both places. Listen, I'd be like, I would probably say something to the effect of, great job, great hustle. I love what we did today. Let's get it done. Something like that.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, let's go.
Let's go is what you should have said. That would have been like the perfect wrap up.
Let's go.
You've got the backboard. It's your legacy. It's the moment of impact, literally. If you're looking down 20 years, what do you want to be the broken backboard of what you have done as a firm administrator or as working in legal management?
I think my legacy it's truly going to be people. And really all of the people that I've had the benefit and privilege of working with and that I've been able to push forward in one way or another, and be it with a kind word, be it with an opportunity, be it with an acknowledgement. I really try to lead with kindness. I try to interject that spirit of the let's go, but like that you can do it. Really try to make sure that, from a training perspective, I'm pushing people forward maybe in ways in which they might not have seen it for themselves. And, I think about, all of the various people, like I said, that I've had the privilege of working with. And I think about, either if they've stayed in legal or maybe they've transitioned out of legal, giving those folks the opportunities to know that they can do it. And then like really watching them succeed and grow. As a coach, oftentimes, like you'll see this a lot in football, even in basketball, you'll see like the coach and the coaching tree, like who came from that coach and like, here's their tree.
Yes.
And so
Greg Popovich.
Greg Popovich is who I was thinking of.
Things along that line, in football, you think about like Bill Parcells and like the coaches that came under Bill Parcells or even, like George Seifert in San Francisco and, things like that. You think about those coaching trees. And so I think about my coaching tree.
I love this concept.
Yeah.
I love this.
And that to me is the legacy because it's like, whoever is next, I want people leaning in and really getting after it. And it's like, you are capable, and whatever you've learned from me, you've now taken that and you've made that 10 times better. And now guess what? To me, it's like, pay it forward. So you're paying that forward. And now guess what? Who's coming out of your coaching tree? And that all just stems down. So that to me would be the legacy.
The coaching tree. Can you get it? You could get it framed and keep it just like your backboard.
There you go.
Okay, Tirek, you're passionate about a lot of things. We're going to move into our final. I know you're going to be sad that your time with us is coming to an end, but we're going to move into our final segment, which is called Pitch Your Passion. And you have a couple minutes to tell us anything you're passionate about.
Yeah, I've really appreciated the time with you guys. I think you guys are both fantastic in your own rights and the things that you guys do, and love that you guys are doing this. I think you're bringing some life and some reality and, to our profession, which I think, I'm hopeful that people continue to listen and take in and feel that. Definitely with our calls, I felt that. For me, my passion, it is a lot of different things. I think anything that I step into, I bring that passion to it, really that let's go passion. But it's we've kind of touched on it, but it is coaching for me. Like, that is truly my passion. And, I see it in everything that I do. I think back, my wife recently, graduated from law school a couple years ago. And, I think about her friends in law school, and, there would be times where I would pick up the phone and, they would be like, "Hi, coach, I need a message. We're getting ready for our final exam." And it got to a point where I started recording certain messages, and my wife would send it out to them. And, it's been something that has, I did it for them. The guys that I've coached, athletically, they'll pick up the phone and they'll call me and, "Coach, I need some words. I'm going through this. Can you help me out with that?" And most recently, like I said, I went back and I got my certificate in executive coaching. And so, to me, to add to my toolbox of being a better listener, being a better communicator, being able to, really kind of help people in many different walks, whether you are a partner or associate, whether, you're a receptionist. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. So that to me is my passion, me, wanting to give myself. And I do that for my friends, my colleagues, even just people on the street. And just, there was the other day, there was a gentleman, he was getting ready for an interview, and, he was lost. And he was like, "Hey, do you know where this is?" I was like, "Yeah, I know where this is." He was like, "It's over this way. Let me show you." New York is being
New York, 3.5 miles the other direction.
We're just good people.
Gaslighters. Gaslighting.
And, it was like, what's headed, I said, "You look sharp. Where are you going?" He said, "Oh, I have an interview." And I was like, just really just gave him a couple words. Like, "Let me tell you something. You know the part, you got the part, you're ready to rock. Let's get after it." And he just, you saw him stiffen up, like, I got this. And I'm like, "You definitely got this." And, so it doesn't matter who it is. To me, it's like, you want to instill that level of confidence and that ability to be able to do no matter what the situation is. So that's my passion, and I'm hopeful to be able to do it for many years to come.
I love it.
What a good person.
Really?
I really. I have one final question for you, though.
Yeah.
Can you still jump up there and break a backboard?
Probably with how heavy I am, I could definitely pull that backboard.
He's strong. He could probably do it with you on his back.
Oh, amazing. Tirek, the coach, the motivator, the bouncer.
I
would subscribe to like a Coach Tirek message of the day or even week that just got delivered to my inbox.
Amanda, that might be something that I may have to do. May start that, I
would subscribe.
There you go.
I'm not going to pay much, but I will pay some.
Amanda, we'll work out a barter agreement on that one.
Tirek, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I really appreciate you guys having me. And if there's anything I can do for you guys, you let me know. But I'll leave on this. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I love it. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Mostly Legal Podcast. If you like what you heard, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode.
Stay tuned as we uncover more behind-the-scenes stories of law firms with the best minds in the business. And Rob.
Thanks.